Let's pray. Almighty God, who in wisdom and goodness has appointed office of the rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we ask you to behold with abundant favor as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this land. Let your blessings descend upon us and grant that we may consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country and of those whose interests are committed to our charge. Amen.
General business, communication from the chair.
A very good afternoon, members. From the Speaker's office, I have this announcement. Honourable members, you recall that yesterday the chair reserved a ruling on a matter the Honourable Government Chief Whip raised regarding statements made by the member of Mzimba North. In his submission, the Chief Whip stated that he had received information from Mbera District Council, which he requested to be secreted in the House. I have requested the Secretariat to secrete the information as requested by the Honourable Chief Whip. Honour members, you also recall that the member from Mzimba North attempted to ask a supplementary question on the status of CDF for his constituency for a particular year. The chair then advised the member from Mzimba North to raise the matter appropriately in accordance with standing orders. The member proceeded to submit a notice of question by private notice under Standing Order 769 on the issue, and the notice of the question has been sent to the Minister of Law Government and National Unity. Now, there is a question on the same matter. I rule that the Minister of Law Government, Unity and Culture should address the matter through his response to the question as asked by the member of Mzimba North. A further ruling, if necessary, may be made after the Honourable Minister responds to the question. I so rule on behalf of the Speaker, the Honourable Catherine Godanhara. That ends the announcement. Thank you.
General business, item 2B, presentation of delegation reports. The Honourable Member for Sanje Central to present a delegation report on the essentials of migration, management, training of selected members of the Committee on Defence and Security, held in South Africa from 30th May to 1st June 2023.
I see Minister of Lands. Minister of Lands.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable First Deputy Speaker. First Deputy Speaker, in the August House, I wish to bring to your attention that as guided by the House yesterday, we are going to start with presentation of response towards the budget. And this is a report from the Agriculture and Natural Resources. I submit, First Deputy Speaker, sir.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister of Lands. May you move a motion in that regard. Move a motion in that regard. Thank you.
First Deputy Speaker, I wish to move that we start with, I wish to move that we validate the order paper and that we start with business carried over from yesterday, presentation of response towards the budget from the Agriculture and the Natural Resources Committee. I beg to move.
Honorable, dear brother, Honorable Minister, next time say we will violate starting orders, start government business, and then you mentioned item. You missed the government business, but because you're a senior man, chair of chairs before, we can't trouble you so much. You're a nice person. Honorable members, there's a motion as put by the Minister of Lands standing for the leader of the House. Those other people say aye. No, it's too early to produce a low sound. Those other people say aye. Better. And those of the economy say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
Government business, budget motion, chairpersons of cluster committees.
I see our very own, the people of Nshisi South, Kwakui, Kamtsonga, Mbuyedziko, Ndesa, Anage Gula Mkuru. Welcome. The chairperson, deputy chairperson for Agriculture Committee. Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. First Deputy Speaker, this is the report from cluster number 1, cluster which comprises of 2 committees, agriculture and irrigation and natural resources and climate change. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, my fellow parliamentarians, I stand before you today to present a comprehensive analysis grounded in the meticulous findings of the cluster number 1, a document that provides invaluable insights. I, on behalf of the cluster, aim to provide compelling evidence for strategic budgetary adjustments that will maximize impact, ensure sustainable development, and timely contribute to the effective implementation of the budget. First Deputy Speaker, your cluster believes that it is our collective responsibility to scrutinize the budget thoroughly, identify its strengths and weaknesses, and make informed decisions that will lead to tangible and positive outcomes for the people we serve. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I will focus on votes from the Ministry of Agriculture, which is vote 190. This is on ADMA, Pesticide Control Board, Cotton Council of Malawi, Cannabis Regulatory Authority, Shire Valley Transformation Program, National Water Resources Authority, Ministry of Natural Resources and Climate Change, vote 470 on MEPA, Atomic Energy Regulatory Authority, National Herbarium and Botanical Gardens, Ministry of Energy, vote 490, which will focus on ESCOM, Ejenco, NOCMA, MERA, and Ministry of Water and Sanitation, 210. Under it, the Salima Lilongwe Water Supply Company, Northern Region Water Board, Southern Region Water Board, Central Region Water Board, Lilongwe Water Board, and under Ministry of Mining, vote 480, we have the Malawi Investment Mining Company, MAMICO, and Malawi Mining Regulatory Authority, MMRA. I will also highlight the challenges that these sectors face, present actionable recommendations with supporting budget figures from the Cluster 1 report, and demonstrate why these adjustments are essential for Malawi's long-term prosperity and stability. Agriculture and food security. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, allow me to begin with agriculture, the lifeblood of our nation, the engine of our rural economy, and the cornerstone of food security for every Malawi household. Let me start with the Agriculture Development and Marketing Corporation, ADMAC, which stands as a vital institution in this agriculture sector, entrusted with the critical responsibility of ensuring food availability and price stability. While it's encouraging to see an overall budget increase for ADMAC from 18.2 billion to 53 billion, we must not be appeased by this headline figure. A more granular look at the allocations reveals a deep disparity that demands our immediate attention, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. In 2024-2025, ADMAC received 26.3 billion for the strategic grain reserves, and in 2025-2026, 20 billion for strategic grain reserve. ADMAC has 28.4 billion loan from commercial banks, which government will take over repayment since ADMAC has no support stock. All major activities for ADMAC in the 2025-2026 budget allocation need to be increased. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the cluster also noted that ADMAC receives funding late, which forces it to go on the market late, hence does not complete the purchasing process. To rectify this precarious situation, the cluster proposes a comprehensive and urgent review of resource allocation within the Ministry of Agriculture, with a clear mandate to ensure that ADMAC receives the necessary and timely funding required to effectively fulfill its critical mandate. Specifically, based on the cluster's findings, an allocation of 300 billion is needed. 300 billion, and I underline that. This funding level will empower ADMAC to procure the necessary 250,000 metric tons of maize, effectively flooding the 359 markets across the nation and stabilizing maize prices during the crucial period from October to April. This strategic investment while significant, is an essential safeguard that will pay dividends in terms of social stability and economic well-being. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, allow me to talk now about the National Food Reserve Agency, which plays an absolutely indispensable role in maintaining our strategic grain reserves, which serve as a crucial buffer against food shortages and price spikes in the country. The current state of NFRI's reserves is deeply concerning and requires immediate and decisive action. In the 2024-2025 financial year, NFRI's strategic grain reserves were expected to receive 104 billion, while it was learned that by the end of March, when the Committee on Strategic Reserve would meet, NFRA will use its uncommitted SGR balance of 10.8 billion metric tons. Your cluster further learned that unlike 2024-2025 financial year, where NFRA had a stock of 60,000 metric tons in its reserves, the upcoming 2025-2026 financial year, NFRA has only the uncommitted 10,000 metric tons, which is yet to be utilized. Your cluster, therefore, observed that the 60 billion that was allocated for the purchase of maize in the 2025-2026 financial year will not be enough, as there is almost zero reserves since NFRA had committed maize to its two clients, ADMAC and DODMA. Your cluster therefore strongly recommends that NFRA should be allocated 150 billion to procure enough maize from mega farmers and in localities on time. The allocation of the funds will have NFRA procure 105,000 metric tons, which would ensure that the country has some base reserves. This cluster further recommends that Treasury should consider approving the projected funding for the personnel expenditure amounting to 1.7 billion to ensure competitive remunerations, as NFRA is struggling to attract key officers because of low salaries. Now, moving to the Cotton Council of Malawi, CCM, your cluster observed that the council spent more resources on financial management and audit services amounting to 96 million kwacha as at mid-year out of the 188 million allocated. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the Cotton Council's performance has been underwhelming, with cotton production declining. Therefore, your cluster strongly recommended dissolving the Cotton Council and integrating its functions into the Ministry of Agriculture, streamlining operations to improve its efficiency. On a brighter note, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the Green Belt Authority, GBA, has seen a substantial budget increase from 6.9 billion in the 2024-25 national budget and has also been allocated 41.4 billion in the 2024-25 national budget, which represents a 500% increase. The cluster also observed that Green Belt Authority has made good progress in a number of projects, namely Ntola Irora in Karonga, that's a scheme, Mega Farms Program Rehabilitation, which includes Nkopola, Ruea, and the Chikwa Mega Farm in Salima, and in Chalo, project rehabilitation for irrigation of various value chains such as cotton, sesame, and maize. However, Greenbelt has a shortfall of about 11.8 billion, which will mean a reduced hectareage for rehabilitation and developing infrastructure for irrigation. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, your cluster also noted that the 2,000 hectares of maize field in Salima is projected to produce a minimum of 800 metric tons. To maximize the impact of this investment, your cluster advised Green Belt Authority to fast-track the development of the project since the budget has been increased by 500%. Your cluster also observed and recommended that Green Belt Authority should focus on one project at a go to create a greater impact. The cluster further proposes that Green Belt Authority should consider supplying grain to ADMAC and NFRA altogether, because ADMAC has ready markets across the country. To Treasury, the cluster, number one, recommends that you should consider allocating 400 million kwacha for compensation of land resettlement in areas where Greenbelt Authority is currently working, especially in Chikwawa Farm in Salima, and other areas like in Chalo, where land acquisition has been affected due to unpaid compensation. This is a must for Treasury. The final recommendation under Greenbelt Authority is that Treasury should prioritize Greenbelt Authority and allocate its funding on time to match operations of the authority, where irrigation can be done throughout the year, and therefore contributing to having adequate SGR, that is at both NFRA and ADMAC. Green Belt Authority is very key. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, your cluster also invited the Smallholder Fertilizer Revolving Fund, which plays a vital role in ensuring that our farmers have access to the essential inputs they need to enhance agricultural productivity. The cluster noted that SFF-RFM was allocated 102 billion in the 2023-2024 national budget, and that in the 2024-2025 national budget, it has been allocated 150.7 billion for fertilizer payments. The cluster also observed that in the 2024-2025 financial year, SFF-RFM had planned to produce 67,000 tons, but scaled down to 36,000 tons during the mid-term budget review due to limited working capital and lack of forex. However, the cluster, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, is pleased to report to the House that in 2025-2026 financial year, one of the major projects for SFF-RFM is a collaboration to facilitate the feasibility study for the establishment of a fertilizer plant. However, the cluster observed that SFF-RFM continues to face forex challenges, which affect the fulfillment of its mandate. Additionally, SFF-RFM requires the recapitalization and replenishment of 89,000 metric tons, equivalent to 135 billion, which was used by government between 1995 and 2004. We need to, as government, they need to pay back to revolving so that it actually recapitalizes it. The cluster, therefore, proposes that to ensure the fund's continued effectiveness and its ability to support our farmers, it requires adequate resources for the recapitalization process. In this regard, the cluster strongly recommends that the 135 billion which government actually used between the years said above should be given back to SFF-RFM, which could be used as the working capital. The cluster also recommends that since SFF-RFM has been the provider for the AIP fertilizer, the AIP functions should move from the Ministry of Agriculture to SFF-RFM. And lastly, SFF-RM should be assisted with forex and be allocated funds on time to ensure timely procurement and distribution of fertilizers across the country. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I would also like to bring to your attention the matter of the Pesticides Control Board, a subvented vote. Despite the board presenting challenges affecting the operations like the lack of accredited laboratory, which forces the board to send pesticide samples outside the country, the cluster's strong recommendation is that the Pesticides Control Board should be dissolved, like the Cotton Council, and its functions retained to the Ministry of Agriculture. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I will now provide a brief update from the Cannabis Regulatory Authority and the Shire Valley Transformation Program. Cannabis Regulatory Authority, the total budget allocation to the CRA has been a marginal increase from 1.1 billion in the 2024-25 financial year to 1.1 billion in the 2025-26 financial year, representing a 10% increase. The cluster has concerns about coordination costs within the authority, noting that 187 million kwacha was spent on board meetings annually. To improve the authority's financial standing and effectiveness, the cluster recommends that the authority should utilize its own generated revenue, reduce cannabis fees to encourage industry participation, explore more off-taker engagements, and reconcile subvented funds. Shire Valley Transformation Program. Turning to Shire Valley Transformation Program, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the 2025-2026 financial year has a substantial budget of 172.1 billion. This funding is provided by IDA, FDB, and 5 billion from the Malawi government. This allocation is for phase 2 of the project, which will also support the construction of a temporary intake and a 6-kilometer canal to irrigate the Kambadwe Cooperative, set to begin its operations in June 2026. The House may be pleased to note that the main intake, which was damaged by Cyclone Anna, is now under reconstruction by Ejenco, and it is at 60% completion. The cluster, therefore, recommends that the Shire Valley Transformation Project be expanded into a national program to allow broader investment and participation. Let me now turn to Ministry of Water and Sanitation, Vote 210. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let us now turn our attention to the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, a sector of paramount importance for the healthy and well-being of our citizens. The total budget allocation to the Ministry of Water and Sanitation has increased from 202 billion in 2024-25 financial year to 281.7 billion in 2025-26 financial year. This allocation supports 4 major projects, namely Malawi water sanitation, groundwater extraction, solar-powered groundwater and development, and the Malawi Watershed Services Improvement Project. However, despite the overall increase, challenges remain. The cluster noted that for the groundwater extraction project, the 2024-2025 approved budget was 5.5 billion, but only 4 billion has been dispersed in the current 2025-2026 budget. Similarly, for the solar-powered project, the 2024-2025 approved budget was 884 million, but only 385 million has been dispersed so far. Further, several institutions under the Ministry of Water are facing specific funding shortfalls. For instance, the Salima Lilongwe Water Supply Company, which is a special vehicle for this project. In the 2024-25 financial year, the company raised 105 billion for project implementation, the resettlement action plan, and project management. In the 2025-26 financial year, the company plans to raise 264.4 billion, with 14 billion expected to come from the government. However, the cluster noted that in the 2024-2025 financial year, the company has been allocated only 200 million kwacha against a need of 2.4 billion, affecting its activities, including staff recruitment. In the 2025-26 financial year, the project was allocated 1 billion against a 4.4 billion budget, further affecting operations. The cluster further noted that the project requires an urgent 10 billion for the implementation of phase 2 of the resettlement action, as land acquisition for the pipeline along Salima Chezi is pending. So we need urgently 10 billion for land acquisition so that the project should fully roll out. Central Region Water Board. The cluster noted that the Central Region Water Board has 4 main projects in Doha: Salima, Nchisi, and Kolongo, which in the 2025-26 financial year have been allocated a total of 7.5 billion against the requirement of 63.7 billion. The Central Region Water Board also reported losses due to non-cost reflective tariffs affecting its operations and free water connections initiatives. The cluster recommends that Central Region Water Board should be allocated the required 56.2 billion for main projects. Northern Region Water Board. The Northern Region Water Board reported significant progress in the Karonga and Nkatabe project, but free water connections have affected on losses due to non-cost reflective tariffs. The cluster noted that the Northern Region Water Board was allocated 5.5 billion, but only 1 billion short of finalizing the Karonga project. Additionally, the Northern Region Water Board received no allocation for the Rumpi project, Lambilani Dam design, water service improvement and rehabilitation of Likoma and Chizumulu Islands. The cluster therefore strongly recommends allocation of 6.9 billion for the Rumpi project, 3.2 billion for Lambi Dam design, and at least 2 billion for the Northern Region Water Services improvement, and at least 1.5 billion for the rehabilitation of the Likoma and Chizumulu Islands. Lilongwe Water Board. The cluster noted that, like other water boards, Lilongwe Water Board has 8 main projects planned for 2025-26 financial year, but these have been affected by high levels of non-revenue water supply chain disruptions and low revenue collections efficiency from MDAs. The cluster strongly recommends that Treasury should consider the Lilongwe Water Board by allocating 17 billion for the Nsundwe water supply project and network disinfection and expansion in Lilongwe. Consider the adjustment of the tariff from the minimum of 10% to the optimal being of 25% support for loan financing submission to Badea of actually $20 million and settlement of accrued government water bills amounting to 10 billion, which has crippled the efficient operations of the board. The Blantyre Water Board. The Blantyre Water Board projected 53.1 billion in an annual revenue for 2024-25 financial year and 64.9 million for 2025-26 financial year. The cluster noted challenges in obtaining counterpart funding for projects like Massive One from the government, which could affect donor funding and project implementation. The Blantyre Water Board requires 3.3 billion for its 2 major projects, the World Bank Massive One project and Phase 2 rehabilitation of Sanjika Palace. The Southern Region Water Board. Southern Region Water Board reported having 5 main projects for the 2025-26 financial year, with a total allocation of 10.2 billion against a budget of a request of 26.9 billion, leaving a budgetary gap of 17.4 billion. The Southern Region Water Board requests prioritization of the Mangochi, Lakeshore, and Makanjira and Zarewa water supply projects requiring an additional funding of 12.3 billion. MALAWI Kwacha. This is a must again to the Treasury. The cluster noted that the board is struggling with the situation at the Mlunguzi Dam due to deforestation and tree harvesting. The board noted that water levels may continue to lower, affecting water distribution in Zomba. Specific underfunding concerns in the eastern region include Makanjira, Zalewa, Mangochi, Lakeshore sources. The cluster noted that a mineral water plant established by Southern Region Water Board has the potential to increase revenue, but requires a quick electricity connection. The cluster further recommends that the Southern Region Water Board should be allocated an additional 2.1 billion for the Mangochi Lakeshore project, and additional 10.2 billion for Makanjira and Zalewa water supply project, which would stall if the additional funds are not allocated. Additionally, the cluster recommends that there is need for government to consider declaring the Mulunguzi forest plantation to Malawi Defense Force to ensure its security of the forest and water conservation around the clock. My Minister of Mining, vote 480. Turning our attention to the Minister of Mining, a sector with immense potential to contribute to our national wealth and economic diversification, we observe a complex budgetary situation that requires careful and quick consideration, honorable members. And this is direct to the Minister of Finance. The ministry has been allocated a total of 10.66 billion in the 2025-26 financial year. This figure includes 4 billion specifically for the mining investment company. This allocation represents a 22% budget increase compared to the 8.75 billion allocated in the 2024-2025 financial year. It's worth noting that the mining budget has seen substantial growth in recent years. The 2024-25 financial year budget more than doubled in 2023-2024 financial year budget of 3.63 billion. In fact, the budget has grown 5.5 times in just 5 years, from 1.9 billion in 2021-22 to 10.6 billion in 2025-26. However, a closer examination of the allocations reveals a significant imbalance. The cluster observed that out of the 10.66 billion budget, a disproportionate 76% or 8.08 billion has been allocated to the management and supporting service programs. In contrast, only 24% has been allocated to the core programs of mining and geological services. The cluster noted that this allocation was an unproductive and imprudent way of utilizing limited resources. Furthermore, the cluster observed that the vote had budgets for the Mining and Minerals Regulatory Authority, where in 2024-25, the authority was allocated 805.5 million kwacha. Additionally, the cluster noted that the vote had a budget for the Malawi Mining Investment Company, MAMICO, which during the budget preparation stage, it was a project under the Public Sector Investment Program, where it was allocated 4.1 billion, meant for mineral exploration equipment. Now, a fully-fledged company, MAMICO, requires a provision for personal emoluments, investment capital for proposed business ventures, administration, and other recurrent transactions and other activities totaling to 29.5 billion in the 25-26 financial year. Funding. The cluster further noted that the ministry, together with the MRA and MAMICO, has potential to bring in more revenue to the government purse. The cluster observed that despite the country adopting the ATM policy, the mining sector has not been fully prioritized due to the inadequate funding. Therefore, to unlock the revenue generation potential of the mining sector and address the funding inadequacies, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the cluster recommends that the ministry should be considered additional funding of 17.7 billion, particularly 5 billion for the construction of the mining and geological laboratory complex in Mzuzu, and 7 billion for the procurement of mining, geological, and laboratory equipment. The cluster believes that the additional funds will assist the institutions with their efficiency operations, thereby ability to realize revenue projected at 3 billion in the 2025-26 financial year, 3.3 billion in the 26-27 financial year, and 3.6 billion again in the 2027-28 financial year, as indicated by MMRA, should be actually gotten. The cluster further recommends that MAMICO should be allocated 29.5 billion to assist in the operation of its newly established company. Now I turn to Minister of Energy. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, moving on to the critical sector of energy, a sector that serves as the bedrock for our economy, for economic growth, industrial development, and overall spatial progress, the Minister of Energy has been allocated 56.4 billion in 2025-2026 financial year. This, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, represents a 37% increase from the 2024-25 budget allocation, a positive step in the right direction. However, while this increase is certainly welcome, it is important to acknowledge that it remains insufficient to address the numerous and pressing challenges facing the energy sector and to meet our growing energy demands. The ministry has clearly articulated its needs, stating that it requires additional funding totaling to 410 billion for several proposed projects that are crucial for the nation's energy security and development. Though the vote has received an increase by 30%, some co-planned activities have been affected. Specifically within the crucial area of electricity generation and supply, the ministry requires an additional 290 billion kwacha. This funding is essential for investments in new generation capacity, for the maintenance and upgrading of existing infrastructure, and the expansion of access to electricity across the country. Honorable members, on MAREP Phase 9 and Phase 10, MAREP Phase 9 and Phase 10 needs an extra 120 billion, which will facilitate completion of Phase 9, which is at 75%, and commence Phase 10 of the project, further extending electricity access to underserved communities and driving rural development. This amount is a must. MAREP is at the heart of each and every member of parliament. Additionally, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the ministry requested an additional 8 billion for land acquisition for the access road and PIU in the Batamanga Hydro
Honorable
Power
Chairperson,
Plant.
consider winding up. You've exhausted 33 minutes. Out of the 20, try to...
Yeah.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. This is the cluster number 1, and I'm here to talk about Chitantamapiri. It's on the last page. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, additionally, Madam Speaker, the ministry requested an additional 8 billion for land acquisition for the access road and PIU in the Patamanga Hydro Power Plant project. The ministry will implement Phase 2 of the rehabilitation of Kapitira Dam, which will better build back the dam and bolster its resilience against future storms, thereby safeguarding our energy security. The comprehensive completion of the entire project is expected by May 2027. The House may be pleased to note that the ministry reported that ESCOM has managed to purchase the 90,000 electricity meters under the Malawi Electricity Access Project MEA and will commence grid connections. The project is expected to conclude by June 2025. The construction of the 301 megawatts and 60 megawatts power plants is planned for the second quarter of 2026, with commercial operations targeted for 2030. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, NOCMA. For NOCMA, it had planned a strategic approach for purchase of fuel using the government-to-government approach, and currently discussions are ongoing with the United Arab Emirates. Additionally, NOCMA informed the cluster that Reserve Bank of Malawi disbursed 10 million Malawi kwacha weekly for $10 million weekly for purchase of fuel, and Tanga has 51 million of fuel, 51 million liters of fuel, and therefore the country is safe as other contractors will be providing consignments as per contractual basis. Nevertheless, NOCMA is currently exploring the usage of Mtwara Port in Tanzania as another option. A route assessment is being planned to check feasibility of this route. With regards to MERA, I wish to inform Mr. Second Deputy Speaker that MERA has committed to paying off all the levies to MAREP and Roads Fund Administration only when the fuel prices have been stabilized. But currently, the levies are used to pay for fuel purchases. In general, to ensure that we maximize the impact of this essential investment, the ministry therefore requires an additional funding totaling to 410 billion Malawi kwacha for its main project. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, as I'm going towards concluding, let me appraise this House with the cluster's brief analysis from the National Water Resources Authority and the National Herbarium Botanic Gardens. These institutions, though distinct in their mandates, share common challenges that hinder their ability to fully contribute to our national development goals. These challenges include underfunding, staffing, constraint rates, and the need for adequate resources to carry out their core functions. National Water Resources Authority. Let me begin with the National Water Resources Authority was allocated 500 million in 2025-26 financial year, which represents a near 100% increase from the 2024-25 revised provision. While this increase is commendable, it's crucial to develop deeper the specifics. The cluster has observed that the persistent underfunding of personnel directly impacts the authority capacity to attract and retain the skilled workforce necessary for its operations. Furthermore, the NWRA has not been allocated any funds under the Kamuzu Barrage Management Unit or RT, despite entering into a memorandum of understanding with Ejenko to assume management of the Kamuzu Barrage. The authority requires 900 million kwacha for this crucial responsibility, and the absence of allocated funds casts a shadow over their ability to effectively manage this vital infrastructure. Lastly, National Herbarium and Botanical Gardens. Now, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let's turn our attention to the National Herbarium and Botanical Gardens, where in the 2025-26 financial year, they have been allocated 2.87 billion, a 91% increase from the mid-year revised budget. It's important to note that the provision for the 2024-25 financial year was more than double the provision for the preceding year of 2023-24, increasing from 859.5 million to 1.75 billion. The trajectory indicates a growing recognition of the importance of this institution. To effectively carry out its mandate, the National Herbarium requested additional resources amounting to 1.1 billion for recruitment, functional review, finalization of other works. Conclusion. In conclusion, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I urge you to consider, I urge the Minister of Finance to consider the recommendations presented today by prioritizing agriculture and food security, investing in energy and infrastructure, supporting natural resources and mining, and addressing cross-cutting issues. Among others, we can build a stronger, more resilient, a more prosperous Malawi together. Let us work together with a shared vision, a commitment to excellence, to ensure that this budget serves as a catalyst for positive change, sustainable development. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we are happy as a cluster that we were the last one, because we have emphasized on everything, and we do hope that whatever has been presented from this report will be taken on board by the Minister of Finance. Agriculture and energy are very key. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I therefore, on behalf of the cluster number 1, Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation Committee, Natural Resources and Climate Change Committees, submit this report for close attention by the Minister. I submit, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chairperson of the very important cluster, Agriculture, Natural Resources, and other subcommittees that are there. Indeed, you presented a long but very important report. For purposes of information, You are the son of the then first Deputy Speaker. Much respect, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Nice job. Honour members, we've exhausted, I think, all the committee reports, and now we recognize the government chief whip, the people of Mzimba, Sorora. Minister of Transport, please.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Good afternoon. I rise to pray that we revert back to general business on the order paper. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, there's a motion that we go back to the previous business, which is general business, item 2B rather. Those of the opinion say aye, and those of the government say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
General business. Item 2B, presentation of delegation reports. The Honourable Member for Sanje Central to present a delegation report on the essentials of migration management training of selected members of the Committee on Defence and Security held in South Africa from 30th May to 1st June 2023.
Honourable Member from Sanje Central, do you wish to speak to your report?
Yes.
No. You first state what is given on your folder.
First, Deputy Speaker, I beg to present the papers standing on my name under item 2B, Roman numeral 2 of the order paper.
B Roman numeral 1. Should be 1.
2B, Roman numeral 1 of the order paper.
Thank you. Thank you. Sergeant at Arms. Honourable Member from Sanje Central, do you wish to speak to your report?
Yes, First Deputy Speaker.
Please proceed forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. Last time I stood on this podium to make a presentation of the same report, there were some chows at the opposite side of government. So it is my prayer today that evil mind shouldn't be there again today. Thank you. First Deputy Speaker, I thank you for recognizing me to present this delegation report to this Honourable House on behalf of the Honourable members of Defence and Security Committee who attended the Essentials of Migration Management training in South Africa from 30th May to 1st June 2022. First Deputy Speaker, at the outset, I wish to thank your office for honouring us with the opportunity to attend this training and Parliament Secretariat for providing the necessary technical services and facilitating the trip. Let me also take this opportunity to extend the delegates' appreciation to the International Organization for Migration for sponsoring the delegation. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the International Organization for Migration is the leading intergovernmental organization in the field of migration and works closely with government, intergovernmental, and non-governmental partners. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, IOM works with 174 member states, a further 8 states holding observer status and offices in over 100 countries. IOM is dedicated to promoting human and orderly migration for the benefit of all. It does so by providing services and advice to the governments and migrants, and it is part of the United Nations system as a related organization. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, IOM works to help ensure the orderly and human management of migration, to promote international cooperation on migration issues, to assist in the search for practical solutions to migration problems, and provide humanitarian assistance to migrants in need, including refugees and internally displaced people. To this end, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, allow me to give highlights of the training. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation attended a training session on the global context of migration. In this session, participants were taken through a conceptual framework of migration where micro and micro-level factors were noted to be the drivers of migration. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, it was learned that depending on the combination of the drivers, people may move temporarily or permanently, or may stay close or move far, and may as well move regularly or irregularly. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, your delegates were also taken through the International Migration Law and Human Rights session. The participants were informed that the International Migration Law is an umbrella term for the set of principles and norms related to migration, covering the following: A, right of migrants; B, competences and obligation of states toward migrants; and C, states' collaboration and coordination among each other in the field of migration. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, just as citizens of a country have responsibilities towards their country, so do migrants. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, participants were informed that migrants have responsibilities to comply with national law, just as all citizens must comply. However, these are specified at the national level, for example, in the country of residence. The national legislation and international levels need to be aligned or non-contradictory in order to make life of migrants bearable. Your delegates, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, also learned that migration plays a part in development, as it is a strategy to diversify income and reduce risk for both migrants and their families, while improving access to health and education. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, migration can also be a driver of development, as dynamics such as diaspora engagement, entrepreneurship, and remittances can contribute to the development prospects of migrants' origin countries. Migrants can also contribute to the development of the territories they live in, both at national and local levels. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, despite migration being a driver of development, The participants also learned that the link between migration and sustainable development is not automatic. As such, if not carefully managed, migration may have unintended consequences on sustainable development, such as brain drain, deterioration of the environment, and increased inequalities if specific groups of people do not benefit from the development in ways that other groups do. As such, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, there is a need to regulate migration. To this end, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, your delegates were taken through a topic on regulating migration and border management, where it was learned that there were three types of border, namely A, land borders. These are politically defined boundaries separating physical territory between political entities and the areas where political entities exercise border governance measures on their territory extraterritorially. B, maritime borders. These are governed by treaties and customary international law, most prominently the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. States have sovereign rights over their international waters. For archipelagic states, also the archipelagic waters, and the territorial sea as established by the international law more generally. C, air borders. These correspond to the land and or maritime borders of a state in a direct vertical line. Every state has complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above its territory, including its territorial sea. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, it was also learned that agencies responsible for the border management usually deploy officials at or in the vicinity of the borders at point of entry. It was further learned that apart from formal border control points, informal border crossing are also frequent in many countries, just as is the case with our borders, where people frequently cross and recross borders in both directions, either to go to a hospital on one side or to markets on the other, as well as to access education, hence the need to have proper border management mechanisms. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, your delegates were taken through a topic on trafficking in persons. On trafficking in persons, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, it was noted that the international community arrived at a definition of the crime of trafficking in 2000 with the entry into force of protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children, trafficking protocol, that supplement the UN transitional. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, of late, social media has been awash with the stories of Malawians finding themselves in different countries after being promised lucrative jobs only to find themselves in dire situations and seeking help to come back home. This is worrisome. Perhaps as a country, we are going wrong somewhere. For this reason, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, there is a need for us as a country to be part of any region agreement promoting labor mobility to ensure that those leaving the country for the greener pastures are not exploited, as has been the case recently. On this note, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let me once again thank your office for according me this opportunity to table this delegation report in the House. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, with these few remarks, I beg to move that the House should note this report. I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the people of Nsanje Central, for tabling that report. Anyone from the committee? From the delegation? Anyone who was part of the team that did go to South Africa to second the report? Just contribute. Anyone who can take the floor and contribute? I see the leader himself.
Thank you, Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker. Mine is to congratulate the Honorable Member for presenting a report and also for sharing lessons that as a National Assembly we should learn and move forward in our deliberations. And for that reason, Right Honorable Speaker, I stand to beg that my debate on the report be curtailed in order to allow the presenter to wind up the report. I beg to move.
Honourable members, there's a motion as put by the leader of the House that we do curtail debate on the delegation report to South Africa and that we go to another business on the order paper. Those, will the people say aye? And those of the good say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Honourable member for Nsanje Central, you can just move a motion that the report be noted by the House. Thank you.
Thank you, First Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that the House should note this report. I beg to move.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Nsanje Central. Honourable members, there is a motion that the report ably presented by the Honourable Member for Nsanje Central on a delegation on defence and security, which went to South Africa from the 30th May to 1st June 2023, be noted by the whole House. Those of the members say aye, and those of the court say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. And the report has indeed been noted by the August House. Thank you.
Presentation of delegation reports. The Honourable Member for Zimba Southwest to present a delegation report to the 66th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference held in Ghana from 30th September to 6th October 2023.
Honourable Member from Zimba Southwest.
Thank you.
First Deputy Speaker, I beg to present the papers standing on my name under item 2B, Roman numeral 2 of the order paper. I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Sergeant at Arms.
Thank you.
Honourable Member from Zimba Southwest, do you wish to speak to a report?
Yes, First Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Please proceed to the dispatch box. Members are being reminded by the Secretary that the report is already on your gadgets, so you may wish to have a look as he presents the report.
First Deputy Speaker, I feel greatly honored to stand in this August House to present a delegation report to the 66th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, which was held in Accra, Ghana, from 30th September to 6th October 2023. The conference first Deputy Speaker was held under the theme, The Commonwealth Charter, 10 years old, Values and Principles for the Parliaments to Uphold. First Deputy Speaker, this report will cover the following: introduction and background, summary of the official opening ceremony, observations and findings, and finally, recommendations. First Deputy Speaker, the CPA Vice Patron, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, was the guest of honor during this conference. In his opening remarks, he indicated that the conference had come at the right time when the world was being faced with many challenges, which required concerted efforts to defeat them. Finally, First Deputy Speaker, the President commended the Commonwealth for its commitment to the rule of law, open and tolerant societies, equality for all, and respect for the fundamental human rights and freedoms. The CPA Secretary General, Mr. Stephen Twigg, also expressed that the conference offered an invaluable opportunity for delegates to come together and share best practices in addressing common issues, thereby strengthening Commonwealth values as the theme of the Commonwealth Charter attests. Finally, Mr. Deputy Speaker, he reminded the conference that there was need to resolve the CPA's legal status, as the issue has been long outstanding for decades. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the conference undertook the following topics, and these topics were discussed and recommendations were made. Topic number 1, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, was on gender quotas in Parliament, a means to an end. During this workshop, it was noted that despite progress being made in many areas, women's representation in parliaments were still inadequate. Therefore, to address this disparity, gender quotas have emerged to create opportunities for women to enter politics by breaking the barriers that hinder their participation. However, it was pointed out that gender quotas are intended to be temporary mechanisms. It was noted that parliaments across the Commonwealth were implementing gender quotas in 2 ways. The first was through legislative measures, and secondly, it was through party mechanisms, where political parties voluntarily commit to gender quotas in their candidate selection process. First Deputy Speaker, it was recommended that parliaments of the Commonwealth with less than 30% women parliamentarians should implement a percentage of gender quotas through legislative means or via political party candidate nominations. Topic number 2, First Deputy Speaker, was on Youth Roundtable, role of the Commonwealth in international security and peace building. During this workshop, delegates learned that in an increasingly interconnected world, security threats transcend borders and demand international cooperation. The Commonwealth also recognizes the importance of youth engagement and youth's positive contributions to development, peace, and democracy. It was recommended, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, that Commonwealth parliaments should champion peace-building initiatives by actively involving the youth and collaborate across the Commonwealth network in order to boost the Commonwealth's role in international security for more peaceful and secure future. Topic number 3, First Deputy Speaker, was on environmental approaches in tackling energy poverty. First Deputy Speaker, during the conference, delegates noted that parliamentarians have a critical role to play in addressing energy poverty and promoting sustainable energy solutions. It was noted that energy poverty affects millions of people around the world and has significant social, economic, and environmental impacts. First Deputy Speaker, it was recommended that parliamentarians across the Commonwealth must seek to ensure there is secure, reliable, efficient, affordable, and environmentally sustainable energy provisions available for all. Topic number 4, 20 years of Ratima House Principles of the Separation of Powers. Was it working? This topic gave an insight into the Commonwealth Ratima House Principles as a guiding democratic value of the Commonwealth that it is needed to ensure checks and balances in political institutions. Topic number 5, the Commonwealth Charter, a charter for all human rights or just some. The delegates learned that through the Commonwealth Charter, countries are committed to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other relevant human rights covenants and international instruments. Furthermore, countries are committed to equality, respect for the protection and promotion of civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. It was recommended, First Deputy Speaker, that the Commonwealth Charter should apply for all Commonwealth citizens irrespective of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, age, or political views, and parliaments should be actively working to promote the human rights of all. Topic 6, e-parliaments, an effective mechanism for international diversity and equitable public engagement. The workshop was of the view that effective public engagement enhances the legitimacy, transparency, and accountability of Parliament. Therefore, e-parliaments offer new opportunities and platforms for public engagement through online consultations, e-petitions, social media interactions, and of virtual meetings, even though they face risks and limitations, such as digital divides amongst the population, cyber attacks, and mis- or disinformation. It was recommended that parliaments should embrace their representative function through engaging with the public, including via appropriate and innovative approaches. First Deputy Speaker, the issue of CPA legal status was also discussed and an update was given. Under this agenda item, the Assembly resolved that the United Kingdom was given 6 months to pass a legislation on the new status of the CPA. CPA intends to achieve having an international interparliamentary organization from a charitable organization. In conclusion, the delegation expects that relevant stakeholders will take the necessary action on the recommendations made during the conference. Finally, the delegation would like to express its profound gratitude to Madam Speaker, Catherine Gotani-Hara, and the Clerk of Parliament, Mrs. Fiona Kalemba, for according us such an unparalleled opportunity to represent Parliament of Malawi at this crucial conference. In addition, the delegation wishes to thank Parliament's Secretariat for facilitating all logistical arrangements to make this trip a success. First Deputy Speaker, I therefore beg to move that this delegation report be noted by the whole House. I beg to move. And I thank you all for listening. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member from Zimba Southwest. Any member who did accompany the people of Zimba Southwest, just to add a word or two. And anyone who was in Accra, Ghana. Anyone who passed Kumasi in Ghana. Leader.
Perhaps the First Deputy Speaker, debate on the report could be done by any member who even did not go to Accra, Ghana. So maybe if you may ask any member who want to debate. Yeah.
Yes, as pointed out by the leader, perhaps even those that did go, if you wish to add a word or two, you may have the floor. I see Mangochi Southwest. I see Mangochi Southwest. Seems not, leader. Sorry.
Thank you, Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker. And through you, let me thank the Honorable Member for Mzimba Southwest for ably presenting a report. You are quite aware that Malawi, being under Commonwealth, we learn quite a lot from the Commonwealth Parliament meetings. And for that reason, sharing such a report and submitting it in the House gives us more opportunity to learn from what our fellow colleagues are doing. And therefore, I would like to congratulate the Honorable Member from Zimba Southwest for ably presenting this report. And looking at how the House has accepted this report, I beg to move that the report be, debate on the report be concluded in order to allow the Honorable Member to wind up the debate. I beg to move, First Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader of the House. Honorable members, there's a motion that the report able presented by the Honorable Member for Nzimba Southwest be curtailed in order to allow the member to move a motion for noting. Those of the opinion say aye, and those of the counter opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Honorable Member Nzimba Southwest, just a motion for nodding, please.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. If I move my motion, I would like to thank the whole House for agreeing in silence with my report. Thank you so much, members. As you may have appreciated, this report has addressed very important issues concerning women, youth, and climate. We can't do away of these issues. I therefore ask you to take them seriously as we still are pondering on this report. And I know this report will be referred to the International Relations Committee, where it will be debated more. With these few remarks, First Deputy Speaker, I move that the whole House should note the delegation report. I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member from Zimba Southwest. Honourable members, there's a motion that the report which was presented by the Honourable Member from Zimba Southwest be noted by the whole House. Those with the opinion say aye, and those of the counter opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Leader. Get.
The Honourable Member for Chitipa East to present a delegation report of the seminar on development governance for Malawi held in Shanghai, the People's Republic of China.
We have Misuku Hills people here. People of Misuku, Chinungu, Tipa East. Next.
The Honourable Member for Cholo Central to present a delegation report of the Malawi delegation to Georgia during the first engagement meeting with Parliament of Georgia.
Cholo Central.
Thank you, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. And I beg to present papers standing on my name under item 2B, Roman numeral 4 of the order paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Cholo Central. Sergeant at Arms. Cholo Central, keep on standing, please. Member for Cholo Central, do you wish to speak to your report?
Yes, Mr. First Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Please proceed to the dispatch box.
Mr. First Deputy Speaker, it is an honor for me to stand before this august House to present a report on the exchange visit by the Malawi delegation to the Parliament of Georgia, which took place from the 17th to 21st of June 2024. This visit aimed to foster cooperation, understanding, and collaboration between the two parliaments, as well as to learn best practices and explore opportunities for cooperation between Malawi and Georgia. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the exchange visit featured a series of high-level meetings and engagement with various officials from Parliament and the government of Georgia. These engagements provided our delegation with valuable insights into the Georgian experience in governance, public finance management, and innovations. Allow me, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, to highlight some of the key findings and critical lessons we draw from the trip. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, our first meeting was a courtesy call on the first Deputy Chairman of the Parliament of Georgia, Mr. George Vorske. Mr. Vorske emphasized the importance of strengthening diplomatic ties between our two nations and expressed gratitude for Malawi's support on Georgia's sovereignty on international platforms. This meeting was a reminder of a shared vision and values that bind our two countries together, particularly in a pursuit of democracy, good governance, and sustainable development. To build on this, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation recommends that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I will take that again for the attention of the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. To build on this, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation recommends that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs finalizes the pending Memorandum of Understanding with the government of Georgia to formalize our diplomatic relations and open doors for further cooperation in various sectors, including education, agriculture, ICT, tourism, and sports. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we also had a fruitful meeting with the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee of the Parliament of Georgia. During the meeting, we discussed the potential of mutual collaboration, particularly in the areas of education and public service delivery. The Georgian model of digital public service, as demonstrated in the public hall, is a notable example of innovation that would explore in enhancing our own public service efficiency and accessibility. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, our delegation further engaged the Secretary General of the Parliament of Georgia, who shared insights into the parliamentary practices that enhances transparency and public engagement. Of particular interest, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, is the use of digital platforms to disseminate parliamentary activities to the public. This approach aligns with our own efforts to promote transparency, accountability in our parliamentary functions. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation recommends that the Parliament enhances digital accessibility of parliamentary activities through the improved use of our website and consider developing a dedicated mobile app as used in Georgia. This will increase transparency, public engagement, and accessibility, allowing citizens to stay better informed and participate more actively in our democracy. Furthermore, adopting the best practices from Georgia's recognized parliamentary system, such as an open data initiative and regular public disclosures, will help enhance accountability and build public trust in our parliamentary operations. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation also met the Deputy Foreign Minister of Georgia, who expressed concern in the delays in finalizing the Memorandum of Understanding between the government of Malawi and the Georgian government, which has been under consideration since 2017. First Deputy Speaker, finalizing this MOU is crucial for formalizing our diplomatic relations and open doors for further cooperation in various sectors, including education, tourism, and sports. First Deputy Speaker, in our meeting with the Deputy Minister of Education, we explored the Georgian education system integration of information and communication technology, ICT, from the primary school level. The meeting discussed potential collaboration to strengthen our education sector, particularly in the areas of vocational training and capacity building. First Deputy Speaker, it is very important that as a country, we should incorporate ICT in our education curriculum as early as primary school level, and collaborating with countries like Georgia will help the education sector learn best ways of integrating the system in our curriculum. To this effect, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation recommends that the Ministry of Education facilitates a collaboration with Ministry of Education in Georgia by expanding capacity building exchange program and incorporating advanced ICT curriculum from the primary school level. Additionally, adopting the German model of vocational education as implemented in Georgia could enhance technical skills and employability among our youth. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the meeting also discussed opportunities and increased education scholarships to allow Malawian students to pursue higher education in Georgia in areas like medicine. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation also was taken through the Georgian Public Service Hall to appreciate this service offered, and indeed, our visit to the Public Service Hall was particularly enlightening and exciting. This facility shows how public service can be streamlined and made more accessible to citizens. The centralized model, where multiple government services are offered under one roof, is an approach that could greatly benefit our own efforts to improve service delivery in Malawi. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation recommends that the government consider a study tour to Georgian Public Service Hall to learn about the efficient service delivery model, which could be implemented in Malawi to reduce congestion and improve public service delivery in offices such as immigration, road traffic services, and related offices. Utilizing our existing post office infrastructure could further enhance service delivery. First Deputy Speaker, our discussions with the chairman of Georgian Innovation and Technology Agency, JITA, highlighted the importance of fostering innovations and technology. The agency's role in providing access to technology and supporting innovations aligns with our own goals of enhancing technology capabilities and innovations in Malawi, particularly in the agriculture sector. It is very important that the Ministry of Information should explore opportunities for collaborating in the regards that Malawi can benefit from. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation also had an insightful engagement with the Deputy Minister of Environment, Protection and Agriculture, where we discussed the potential of adopting some of the Georgian agricultural practices, such as modern irrigation techniques and co-financing models for mega farms. These practices could significantly enhance our agricultural productivity and sustainability. In light to this, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the delegation recommends that the Ministry of Agriculture should prioritize investment in irrigation systems and modern agricultural practices drawing from the Georgian experience. This involves seeking international funding, encouraging the adoption of efficient irrigation technologies, and promoting the formation of farmers' cooperatives for resource pooling and market access. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the meeting with the chairman of the Healthy Care and Social Issues Committee of the Parliament of Georgia provided us with valuable lessons on healthy improvements, including the launch of Universal Health Insurance Project that ensures coverage for all citizens within the insurance model. Such initiatives are crucial for advancing healthy equity and access in Malawi. That is why it is very important that Malawi government finalizes the signing of the MOU to facilitate such collaboration for the benefit of our Malawian people. Therefore, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, it is imperative that the government finalizes the signing of the MOU to facilitate such collaboration for the benefit of our people. First Deputy Speaker, let me conclude by saying that this exchange visit was an eye-opener to the Malawi delegation, and hope that the issues raised do present an opportunity for Malawi to learn from the Georgian success practices and make substantial improvements in governance, education, agriculture, and health care. I urge all stakeholders to consider these proposals seriously and work towards their implementation for the benefit of our nation. I therefore, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, present this report of the Malawi delegation to the Parliament of Georgia for the noting by the House. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Tolo Central, who led the team that went to Georgia. Lower West.
Thank you very much, First Deputy Speaker, to recognize the people of Doha West, to support the report as ably presented by the Honorable Member for Tolo Central. First Deputy Speaker, I was not part of the delegation, but the issues that Tolo Central has actually raised, they are very, very important issues. They touch on issues of education, where we talk about exchange visas, we talk about sharing best practices. I think in the education sector, we need to be serious. We need to train our citizens in various aspects of socioeconomic development, and one critical area is actually related to the modern agricultural technologies. I would want to fully support Tolo Central because as a country, we also need to quickly mechanize our agricultural sector. This is an area of interest to Doha West as a constituency, but indeed to Malawi. Tolo Central also raised a very important issue about strengthening parliamentary relations. It's an area, First Deputy Speaker, that you may need to consider. It's a very serious area because your members, Honorable Speaker, they need to be exposed. They need to interact at international level so that whatever we are advancing, we should not be seen to be reinventing the wheel. First Deputy Speaker, as we are considering establishing, it's a proposal from Tolo Central, establishing relations, diplomatic relations with Georgia, we should also seriously consider strengthening existing diplomatic relations. What quickly comes to my mind, First Deputy Speaker, is diplomatic relations with China. As a country, we have benefited quite a lot from China. China has proved beyond reasonable doubt that is a true friend. He's advancing a bright shared future, especially in the global south. As we are indeed strengthening policy collaboration, coordination at all levels, we should, First Deputy Speaker, also as Parliament of Malawi, engage more with Chinese Parliament so that we can benefit more. I know it's not easy to feed 1.4 billion people through agriculture, but China is doing it. As Malawi, we can also do it. And indeed, we can go as far as Russia. Russia has also proved that it can help Malawi. It sent donated fertilizer to Malawi. We benefited from that. Why can't we take a step further and establish diplomatic relations? Western countries have got diplomatic relations with Russia. We seem to be shunning Russia, yet we are benefiting from Russia. But I think it's a proposal that we may also need to consider. Honorable Speaker, you took a delegation to Russia yourself. You saw what Russia is doing at international stage. So I thought I could submit this in support of the report ably presented by Tolo Central. I submit and I support the report. I second. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honour Member for Doha West. We are proud of you, always alert. I wonder why Tolo Central didn't pick you to Georgia, because you're good friends. Next time, Tolo Central take on board Doha West. Honour Members, we're so to take a break. but we can finish this and then guide us. Okay. I've seen two people. Let's respect our veterans. We therefore go to Chiweta Boys, the Chitimba people, Rumpi East.
Thank you, First Deputy Speaker. I would like indeed to comment on the report and indeed to echo to my brother from Doha West that we have to cast our net wider than concentrating on only on what we call traditional sort of friends or partners. It may not help us. We have to go wider. We have indeed to go international. And by putting Russia on the map as the part of our foreign policy, that will do us more favor to our development endeavors. I would like indeed to thank you for recognizing the people of Rumpi East to contribute to this constructive debate, constructive report, that if we go wider, and Russia now is becoming an international center of development. Russia now is becoming an international center of aid. And if we indeed, and this is my appeal to Malawi government, through this parliament and through you, sir, that if we can do that, and especially to my respected brothers, those ministers who are listening, we will do this country a favor. And Russia is also producing fertilizer, they're producing oil, all these things. And if we can be in a relationship with them, believe you me, Malawi will move and will develop. Not only the field of getting whatever aid, but also scholarships. I understand that most of our boys and girls today, they are getting better education through Russian universities. And they are treated professionally. They are treated indeed like humans. But despite that, we really need to actually strengthen that relationship so that they trust us and we also trust them. With these few remarks, First Deputy Speaker, I wanted to comment that this is a better step, a better thing that we do relationship with Russia. Once again, thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chitimba East. Rumpi North.
Mzimba North.
Mzimba North.
Thank you, First Deputy Speaker. First Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to register two things. Madam Speaker, the traditional...
May you raise your voice, Mzimba North? Raise your voice.
First Deputy Speaker, I wanted to recognize and register this report is very, very important, but I wanted to add two things. The biggest and largest importer of Malawi tobacco has long been Russia, and Malawi has had very strong diplomatic and trade relationship, which has made Malawi for a long time to generate forex through Russia, especially the Virginia tobacco. Deputy Speaker, I think in addition to this, we should be looking at the geopolitics of the region. Georgia is the gateway also to Russia and to the Middle East. Let us recognize that, and this report comes at a very, very important time when Malawi needs a lot of proper trade partners. And apart from the trade partners, we need also technical know-how, but we should avoid the xenophobic approach to trade and business. Let us make sure that we treat foreigners as equal partners in development and business development. In these endeavors, those who are already here in Malawi, let us canvass so that they should remain as strategic partners in developing foreign direct investment. With these few remarks, Deputy Speaker, I submit.
Thank you very much, Mangochi Southwest.
Thank you very much, Mr. First Deputy Speaker.
the people of Mangochi Southwest support the recommendations contained in this report. However, we wanted to appreciate, we understand that at this Parliament, we have a number of partnerships, and this partnership initiative is contained in the strategic plan of Parliament. So I would want to ask two things. One, that the strategic plan for Parliament be uploaded in the system here so that we can appreciate what we are supposed to be, visualizing and doing. The second point is, considering that there are so many partnerships around here, would it not be proper that we should be disclosing these partnerships and the members under these partnerships? I have seen that the delegation that went to Georgia, 3 people are from my party and 1 person is from my Congress party. What about from PP? What about from UDF? What about from AFO? What about UTM? So to make sure that we have a balance, we needed to make sure that when we are assigning members into this committee, I would want to belong to one of these committees, but I don't know how to join these committees. So if I may wish to ask, that would be what I would ask, but I support the recommendations contained in. I'm just hoping that the government is going to, this government, maybe not this government, but our government that is coming 16 September, we are going to implement the recommendations contained in this report. Professor Athabira Mutalika is going to implement each and every recommendation that is contained in this report. I submit. Thank you very much, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir.
There's a South, the Congress of the Leader. There's a South.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm rising on a point of order. Is it in order for my dear brother that has just resumed his seat to mention about parties when they're being sent on delegations? I thought we're sent as members of Parliament representing the people of the Republic and not our respective parties. So is that in order that when the Speaker is choosing, she has to be choosing from parties and not members of Parliament that are representing the people of the South constituency, the people that are representing the Republic? I submit.
Indeed, that's why the chair was just quiet, because all of us here, we have one umbrella, Malawi Parliament. Indeed, I do sustain the point of order. When the delegation is sent by the Honorable Speaker, people are not sent on parliamentary background, but as members of Parliament. As you're aware, even the Namalomba family, one is MCP, one is DPP. But you don't mention those things. His sister is MCP, but you don't mention those things, because we are in democratic dispensation. Leader?
Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, I continue to hear some smell as if something is burning, and so yes, I would like you to have time to look at it. But at this time, I want to thank the presenter of the report. The report talks about very critical matters. The lessons talk about agriculture, digitization. I think it's worth sending members of Parliament to learn. Sorry, my voice is gone. You know why my voice is gone. So it's very good to learn and to implement that. And the call for us to have more partners and work with that, I think that is very critical and important. We, however, would like to continue to thank our existing partners because of the wonderful job that they're doing to Malawi. You call them traditional because they have always been with us. We don't call them traditional because we are used to them, but because they have stood with us in difficult times. And these are the partners that have been supporting us. Even when we are hit by cyclones, we come to them, and these partners have been ably supporting us. Therefore, we remain grateful to our existing partners. I stand to ask that the report debate be concluded for us to allow the presenter of the report to wind up, and afterwards I'll rise again for a motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader of the House. Honourable members, there's a motion that debate on the report presented by Honourable Member from Toro Centro on the trip to Georgia be curtailed in order to allow the member to move a motion for noting. Those of the opinion say aye, and those of the contrary say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Toro Centro.
Thank you very much, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. And indeed, through you, allow me to thank the people of Doha West for taking the floor. I must say I fully agree with Doha Central. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, whilst I was in Georgia, I got injured. I had to go to the hospital in an ambulance, and allow me to thank the delegation that I went with that really helped me big time. Honorable Chidovu was excellent. Honorable Tokotembo and the rest of the team, including our clerk, they were massive. I am now better. I can now put my shoes on. But I know for sure that part of the reason why I got injured is that I left my good brother Doha West. I promised him that the next trip, he will be part of the trip because we are always together. But I'm grateful for his contribution. Rumpi East, thank you very much, and that all you have said is true. Mzimba North, thank you very much, and Mangochi Southwest. Let me emphasize as I wind up. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, this MOU has been there from 2017, and as Malawi government, we haven't done well. The Georgian government is very grateful because everywhere we go, we support their sovereignty. And they want to, in a way, share some sort of goodies that they have. For example, they said if we can only write them, they can increase the scholarships because we only have got one medical student in Georgia from Malawi. And there are scholarships, and look at how many Malawians are looking for scholarships. There is an opportunity for scholarships here. They have got what they call the public service hall. This place, you find that you can do your passport there. You can do your driver's license within one roof. You can do your land papers. You can do every paperwork within the same. They have created jobs than you know. Every district has got it. And they are willing to collaborate with Malawi to showcase and even partner in a way of a grant. But all that cannot come if we don't have this MOU. Can the Ministry of Foreign Affairs please help us to score a point that we did visited them and we have this in place. Thank you, Leader of the House, for coming in, and we hope that more is coming. There is more to offer, and we thank you, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, for facilitating that we go there. I therefore submit that this report be adopted by the whole House. Thank you, Mr. First Deputy Speaker.
Honourable members, there's a motion that the report that was presented by Toro Centro on the trip to Georgia be noted by the whole House. Those of the opinion say aye, and those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Leader.
Right Honorable Speaker, this is almost 4 o'clock, and I don't have more words but to thank you. And if you look at your time, as we go to health break, we'll be coming back. We only have 20 minutes to do our work. I therefore like to beg to move that we adjourn early. I beg to move.
Honourable members, there's a motion that we take an early adjournment. Those of the opinion say aye, and those of the contrary say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Leader, any communication?
Right Honorable, to thank you, the manner you have chaired proceedings today, to thank honorable members who have presented delegation reports, but also to just announce that tomorrow, Thursday, is Private Members' Day. However, in the morning, we'll start with questions needing oral replies from honorable ministers. Therefore, a humble plea to honorable members and ministers to be available in the chamber in time tomorrow. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and good evening.
Honourable members, otherwise, just to echo the leader of the House for a good day we've had, and to thank everybody who did participate, and wish you a blessed evening, and to see you tomorrow, Thursday, Private Members' Day, 9:30 a.m. House adjourned.